everybody. I'm here, Jeremy Jennen, owner of Functional Fitness STL.
Jason Malacarney, how you doing?
So we're here, we're starting this little video cast. We're doing this because we already, on our own accord, both consult, talk with, and give advice to loads of people, business people, friends, family. But the main thing is we literally we consult, I would say, hundreds of people on a weekly basis, giving them business advice, self-help advice, and that is exactly what we are here to do today. We are here to help you guys, so anybody out there that's watching, that's maybe at a point now, at a juncture in your life that you're looking to step things up to the next level. You might just be maybe at a changing point in your life, you know? You might be already on the path for quite some time, trying to improve yourself, trying to make increase your worth, trying to increase your ability, and that is what we are here to help you do.
A lot of times when it comes to your daily life, you have everything, obviously it all compiles into one. You don't know how to handle your health. You don't know how to handle to go along with your business life, to go along with personal. There's trying to squeeze it all into one can definitely get quite, I don't know the word I'm looking for, quite
taxing.
Yeah, taxing, exhausting. So that's kind of where we come into play, where we can really help you just kind of prioritize and really make your life a better scenario for you.
And it's not that we're some kind of geniuses or anything, like it's nothing like that. But somebody told me the other day, they said that there was this organization I was interested in being a part of, and they said, well, you could go with them, but all they're gonna do is tell you stuff that's common sense. But the crazy thing is, like, the thing is, common sense is not altogether so common. And sometimes it's the most blatant, like in-your-face stuff that can make the biggest impact, and you might be unaware of it. And that's where having the ability to have an open ear and listen to people around you about what it is exactly you're trying to do, how you're trying to change, just having an open ear and being open to people's ideas is something I think is a big feature that will help you grow.
Having a plan is always the most important part about life. Whether it's business, which is my general specialty, I'm a vice president of operations for a national brand. But just like business, it's the exact same thing in personal. You have to have a plan. Everything starts with a plan. After your plan comes implementation. But you have to crawl before you can walk. You have to start small. First, devise your plan.
So one of the big things that we are actually going to be talking about today is going to be starting, and today we are starting our video cast. So again, like Jason's saying, is, you know, you've got to have a plan. And that's something I was just thinking back over my own personal life with like a lot of endeavors that I've been into. I have always developed plan, strategy, knowledge about whatever it is I'm trying to get into. And even if I end up starting at the very low end, at the very bottom of the rung, I'm always somebody that whatever job I'm in, I always push for intelligence. I always try to increase my knowledge of the business, of the job. And that is part of what Jason's talking about, is having a plan, making sure you've got a plan for success. And a lot of times that simple plan can be just something as basic as developing knowledge of your occupation or your scenario.
Absolutely. In every aspect, you have to look at it like, how do I better this? It's not just about bettering you, it's how do I better this process? Once you have your processes and procedures into play, well, you don't stop there. You continue that development. You use it as a groundwork, and you utilize, you gain experience, you gain knowledge throughout the process. So always keep in mind that just because you started out with plan X doesn't mean by the end of it, it's now not gonna be plan Y. Everything changes.
Yeah, and it's very difficult to have foresight. You're not going to know every single little twist and turn as you're moving into implementation. So not having every single answer at the beginning is not necessarily the worst thing, because it's impossible to predict everything in the future. Even though we try, things change with time.
And that's a good thing, by the way. It's okay. It's wonderful that things change. That's a part of developing a plan. Keep your mind open to new ideas, to new concepts. Take what competitors or what people have done who are in that general field, once again, make them better. Don't ever think that you're better than what has already been done. We've actually been taught the exact opposite our entire lives, you know, from just like speeches, you know, everyone, it's the old adage, somebody has already said it better than you can. Well, yes and no when you look at stuff like that. It's how can I improve what has already been done, not better it, but improve on top of it.
Yeah, if you get that little bit of that add 10% onto like already good ideas, you're gonna, if you can make them 10% better, that's gonna change. They consider that a new invention. So just by changing something existing by like 10%, they consider that new. So you change it 10% better and it's new and you can be like, that's mine.
Most importantly, do not ever be scared of change. Change is a great thing. If you're scared of change, then what are you looking to do exactly? Because you're trying to change your life or change whatever you decide. You can't be afraid of it. Some people out there are very afraid of change, and when that change comes, they don't know how to handle it. Instead of openly embracing it with open arms and then redevising that original plan that you started out with, be on the lookout for change.
And I think one of the reasons people are so adverse to the change is because they don't have a backup plan in play. And so a huge change that's happening right now, which is one of the reasons we decided to video this here, is I just got a bomb dropped on me by my landlord. He said that I'm going to be paying $1,000 more per month in rent. He's incorrect, by the way, but that's what he said. But what my landlord didn't know already is that I already had a plan in place that in case I had to move out of this place, I had a backup plan over in the Central West End. I have another backup plan downtown. So I already had backup plans. So now that somebody forced me into like a change, even though it would have been $1,000 more, I am going to double my business size, like my physical business location. I'm right now 3,000 square feet downtown at our luxurious studio. And we're moving to a 6,000 square foot space that is right next to IKEA down over the Central West End. So, and I just moved over there, so it's like right up the street from my place. But my point is this, is that he dropped the bomb on me, but because I already had things that I was working on to move to the side and move laterally to, I kind of fell forward with this. Right? And so even though it's something difficult in a real tough spot, it's something that because I've implemented a solid backup plan, it's not a big deal in the change. I can embrace the change like you're saying, but only because I've already done the pre-work of having something in place as a fail-safe.
And what he's done is he's looked at the big picture of it. Sure, a big pain in the rear is going to be picking up all his equipment, moving down the street, and gathering everything, and getting people to help him, and renting moving trucks, and all this. All that stuff I just mentioned is such a minute part. The big picture of this is more space. Sure, even if this, let's say his rent, which I don't believe it is, more than this, it's going to be a little less.
No, it's going to be $650 a month more.
Okay, so he's spending more money. He's gonna have a little bit of hassle. But you can't be afraid of that because the big picture is he's gonna be bigger, better, and all he's gonna do is improve every single aspect of his life and business. The little stuff that hassles him to get to the top of the mountain just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
The big thing is, and that's, that I think like anytime you set out on a path to achieve something, I think that's a huge part of it. Is keeping your eyes on the destination. Like if I didn't just keep my eyes hammered on the exact spot that my gym's going to be in like 8 months, I would probably be pretty frustrated right now. Like I'm not saying I didn't get any frustrated at all, but I would be way more frustrated than I am right now because they just dropped that news on me like 1 week ago, right? And so, again, I already had a plan in place that I wasn't even planning on taking, but to be honest, it's a way better deal. And the only reason I'm taking it now is because this guy lit a fire under my ass to move.
Yep. Time heals all wounds. There's another one. When it comes to, let's say his landlord told him, you can't renew the lease. What's he going to do? Is he going to sit around, oh my God, I have to close up my business. I'm not going to succeed. I'm going to do this. No. And he will move on to something bigger and better. Yes, you should always have a plan. You should have a plan to back up your backup plan. However, if you don't and something bad comes, this is where I was telling you about don't be afraid of change. Embrace it. This means that, okay, I don't have a plan currently, I'm getting kicked out, I need to find something better. What is going to better my situation in a year or two now? And when it does come a year or two from now, he is going to be so much happier. And all that time and all that trouble that he spent, it's nothing. It won't even be in his mind at all. All he'll be worried about is how he's bettering his present situation at that time in 2 years.
And it's kind of one of those things we talk about a lot about falling forward. And part of the reason people have a hard time falling forward is because they don't have a plan in place. And it's, again, if your plan changes, like it's not a big thing because you can't predict the future, and it's going to change. So with that being said, what is something that you have worked on recently that has switched on you?
It's actually, for my company, we right now are devising a construction manual. Roughly, it's 200 pages, and this is a big project on my plate. And we're talking everything from pictures to completed pictures to schematic drawings, architectural, bubble plans. I mean, anything. And we're talking even spec sheets for every single little item that's inside of our spots. You want to talk about an ever-changing document? This is daily, because we'll get somewhere, and my CEO of the company will come to me. Well, I think we should do this, this, this. I just spent 3 days working on this, this, and this, and now you want to change it. I don't ever care. I look at him with a smile. Absolutely, sir, I'm going to get right on it. And I'm going to start researching and spending another 3 days on stuff that I already did. And I'm going to do it with a smile. Why? Because the big picture is, in 2 years, when this construction manual is done, it's perfect, I'm going to have to give it to a general contractor, and I won't have to do a thing. Not one thing, because it is all in this perfectly laid out 200+ page construction manual that will guide somebody for me. So the time that I'm spending now, these 3 days, 6 days, it could end up being months. Who cares? In the long run, it is going to better myself, my position, and it's going to make me look great in front of the boss. Always a plus.
And that's one of those things that's really important to realize and make sure that you're doing, is make sure that you are not necessarily always in your business.
Yes.
Because one, you're trading money for hours. You're just making a trade-off, and you have to constantly make that trade-off. Whereas the other one, something like that, where you're talking about doing a lot of hours up front, but once it's completed, it is done, and you have the guide that you can distribute, whatever you're going to do with it.
Being a larger company, we are continually changing. Absolutely every aspect of, we look for change, and we not only wait for it, we seek it out, because change is good. And that is a huge, if that could summarize us talking to you right now, that would be it. Change is good. It's wonderful. You have to embrace it. And the change that's going on in my company, with not just construction manual, but with every single aspect. If I walk into one of our facilities, I am looking at not what's wrong, what can be changed, what can be better, what can be fixed, what will serve our purposes better, how can we make more money, what can we do to make more money. And that's a big thing about change too, is questions. Lots of questions.
Yeah, and that's for just development in general, I think having the ability to ask yourself those introspective questions about that'll help you develop, like stuff. Are you afraid of change? Am I going to step out whenever I see opportunity? Like those kind of questions, and having those answers and having those built-up answers and making that a part mentally of who you are is such a big aspect of doing this. Because I will catch myself sometimes in a space where maybe mentally I'm not in the right headspace, and I'm starting to think possibly a little bit negatively, and then I go through a check, and I just check my attitude, and I see like where I'm at, what this is going to get me to, and it's something real basic that you can do to make sure that you're on track with your mindset.
Yeah, and it isn't even the change we're talking about. It's not just physical change, the world around us. It's change inside you. Because if something's changing in the world around you, you have to change too. You have to adapt. If I'm losing directors who work for me or general managers who work for me, I have to be ready and open to do what I have to change my normal routine that I do. And I have to be open to that to make it better for everybody else who is also affected by this move. So embrace it all. It is so important, and most importantly, when it comes to changing, not changing who you are, but just changing how you look at some things. Generally, that's the biggest personal change that really comes into play, is how you're viewing things. Your whole life, you might have viewed something one way, but don't be afraid. I'm 36. After 36 years I, on a daily basis, just because my CEO is a very tenured man he's been president for multiple divisions, and I learn from him every single day. What I thought yesterday on how to handle a situation, or an employee, I mean, even the police in that matter, if that ever happens to come, how you handle that and how you treat them and how you really hone the situation at hand, that needs to change on a regular basis.
And that's something too, like something really important that he just said there, that's a big aspect of helping make change happen. Find somebody that will guide you to where you want to be. I just talked to Troy McClain in San Diego at the FBS 18. One of the things he said was find somebody that will get you to where you want to be. Make sure you find someone that's already where it is you want to be. Find that person and learn from that person. I feel like that's a huge point to be made as far as any kind of change, whether it be fitness or your business development or spiritual development or maybe like mental change, like you're saying. All of that together, I think that you've got to find people that are experts in those categories. Find them, try to learn as much as you can from them, and spend time with those people.
That goes for business too. When you open up a new business, and this is what we were talking about at the beginning of our segment here, is that's when you go to your competitors, you know, and I'm speaking from a business aspect. Don't be afraid. Go to your competitor. See what they do. Look at it. Analyze it. Write it all down. And make it better. That is what it's all about. Make it better. And how do you think restaurants, I mean, that's why there's a gazillion restaurants out there. They're all copying, you know, you have your McDonald's, and every single fast food restaurant around there at the end of the day is trying to be like McDonald's. If they're not, they're crazy. If you don't want to be the biggest and the best, then why are you even doing it? So that is a big thing when it comes to look at what, like Jeremy just said, look at what other people, other businesses, other companies are doing around you. Don't be afraid, and make it better.
That's what we got for today. This is our quick start on change. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for our next episodes. I'm Jeremy Jenin, Functional Fitness SDO.
Jason Malacarney.
See you guys soon.